A big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
So I've got a Z5ii here and I'm in one of my favourite places, the Faroes. I'm really excited about sort of exploring this pretty cool full frame, or sort of a beginner's entry into full frame cameras, I think. It's 24 megapixels. I'm going to talk more about that later. I'm actually going to take some shots that compare this with my Z8 and also back at home some other cameras as well. And yeah, the first hike somewhere I've not been for a while, which is this floating lake in the Faroes. And I'm also really excited because I've got Rick and my brother-in-law Neil with me who've never been to the Faroes, so it's always nice to show somebody around. I've forgotten how cool this place is. It's so epic. So I'm going to try and maybe shoot down there. The sun's going to set over there somewhere. You can just see Rick there. But I think it'll be so cool. And then there's a really good spot down there. You've got to go close-ish to the edge, but not too close. Right, well, I'm literally grabbing onto my tripod, which is probably not going to save my life if I fall over here. But I've forgotten how high the cliffs are in the Faroe Islands, and it is ridiculous. The light's not great at the moment, but as you can see, it's a pretty cool shot. One of the things that I noticed straight away about the Z5ii compared to the Z5 is the brightness of this screen and the actual sort of pixel density, the resolution of the screen. It's so much better, which is really, really good. A lot of people are going to say, why have full frame and why not just stick with, you know, just a APS-C sensor? But I feel like 24 megapixels is enough, but I do think there's a difference between APS-C and full frame. I think when you go to full frame, you get bigger pixels, which is going to help in lower light situations, pulling out those shadows. It'll be interesting to see. I'm going to shoot some shots with this compared to my Z8 as well on a higher resolution. We'll print them out really big and that'll be really easy to see. But first of all, I'm going to get this shot. This is 14 millimeters, and as you can see, I've not got it all in. So I'm going to have to stitch it a bit. I'm going to do a bit of a pano and try and not fall. Here we go. So I was just looking at this photo and showing Rick the wave from, this was about 6 years ago, I think, and just how high it was. And we just realized just the scale of this wave. And then Rick had a great idea and he took this photo. Really cold now, so I'm walking over because I'll show you in a sec, but the light's starting to get really good over here, so I'm just going to walk and see if I can shoot down this sort of coastline here. I'll just show you. As you can see, we've got some light rays over there that look absolutely fantastic. I just need to get to a position that I can try and take advantage of them. Whew. Oh, I love it outside. It doesn't get better than this. Right, I've got Rick to stand there, and it just gives a little bit of scale and balance to the shot. Without him, you can see that it just doesn't look quite as good. So the light's looking good. I've got a 24 to 200 millimeter lens on, which is a fantastic lens if you're looking for a lens that does everything. You don't want to take a lens off. It's super, super good, this lens. I always feel like you need a wider angle lens as well, but this is pretty good lens. Right, so I'm going to take this. Right, well, I've still got the 24 to 200 on, and that light's just not quite coming out. You know, but the clouds are starting to look quite nice now. But and I've seen this little hut here, and there's a nice leading line. So I'm taking some shots there, but I'm going to hand hold it and shoot around 250th of a second, f5, and it's going at quite a high ISO. I've got it an auto ISO. So just to see what it's like when I'm shooting, you know, at a slightly higher ISO. So I'm going to do a few different shots. One quite zoomed in, like, you know, quite wide like that, and then I'm going to zoom into about there, I think, and then probably do a portrait one as well. Yeah, and that hook gives it great scale. Oh, it's windy. Can't feel my hands now. Right, so I found something interesting. I've got some really nice foreground. I love foreground. This is interesting because it sort of drops off a little bit, but I feel like the connection between these puddles and the water, the light's looking fantastic, especially on this hill here. It looks really, really good. So I'm quite pleased with this. Oh, so it's looking pretty good for a sunrise. Sunrise is just a bit further to in that direction, but yeah, it looks windy. It's a bit windy the next morning, and we're going to try and photograph this, but as soon as I go around that corner, it's windy. As you'll see, I'm going to walk down there and over there, so the other guys that are with me can maybe get a shot with me stood on the edge. But it is brutal. Here goes. I am sure that you can't tell what I'm saying because it's so windy, but I'm here. It's pretty epic. Look at this, yeah! So I'm just sheltering from the ridiculous wind, and I don't know if you can hear it, but oh my god, that is brutal. Really, really windy, but it's actually quite a nice shot here, I think. So I'm just going to grab my Z5ii and I'll show you what I've got. So it's just like with this fencing going around the corner there. I think that's quite nice, like that. Fence isn't the best fence, but I don't know, that rock's quite nice on the left hand side there, so I think that works pretty well. I mean, ISO 2000, because I've got to have it at 200th of a second really. What a windy day that's been. I've taken a few shots out and about, got some good shots I think. I just took a vertical one with some rocks in the foreground you can see here, but so hard to film and take photos. But I'm basically got auto ISO on because I've got to control the shutter speed because I've got a handhold. Even using the tripod's impossible. So it's going to be really interesting to see with auto ISO. You know, I've gone to shoot some at even like ISO 2000, what the noise is like on the new sensor on this Z5ii. Woo! It's like come back here, go back out, come back for a rest, have a banana. So the stabilization on this camera is pretty spectacular. I've been shooting it in a lot of wind. I'll put some photos up now where you can see the shutter speed I've used, and you've seen how windy it is. It really is very good. Oh, look at this now, the sun's coming out. So I'm just shooting back into the sun and whoa, it's so amazing. I've got my 24 to 200mm lens on, and yeah, it's spectacular. It's really good all around now. So you can see that around here looks pretty cool. And then the clouds are just catching the wind so nicely, which is nice. And then I'm just waiting for something that's good to come out here, but you can see that it looks spectacular. And the sun's really coming out now, so I need to go and get it. It doesn't get better than this, yay! So I thought, come to a classic location, this amazing twisting road to the island in the distance, and I thought I'd compare the Z5ii to my Z8. Now obviously the Z8 is going to be better, it's a higher resolution sensor, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to print them out at different sizes and we can see how they compare. One thing I've just noticed as well, I've just been using them both together, and the viewfinder is super bright on this, and like I've always thought that the Z8 is just one of the best viewfinders, but this is really, really good. So yeah, so I'm going to use the 14-24 lens on both of them, both at f9, so everything will be the same apart from the sensor. It's so windy. Still windy. Right, the weather this morning has been mixed, I'd say. It's rained for most of the morning. It's late morning now. We've come out and it's clearing, and there's been some amazing rainbows. I just got a shot over there. I'm going to show that later in the video. I'm going to print it. I took it on my Z8 and my Z5ii so we can compare the print. So I'll show you that at the end. But now there's a river here that looks pretty good, and a really fantastic view over the sea stacks here. So I'm going to walk down to this river, try and get a shot, and hope the rainbow comes back. There's rain here, but no rainbow over there. Right, so don't fall in, Nigel. I quite like the fact that we've got a bit of a waterfall here. In fact, actually, it might be good to go around there and get the waterfall in with a wider angle lens, but I feel like this looks pretty good. I just need a rainbow now. Right, it's quite a nice shot, that. The viewfinder and this camera is so good. It's such an improvement on the Z5 and the Z6 II. It's so much easier to use. Just need a rainbow. This is so nice, this shot here, where you can just see the waterfall going over. I can hand hold it because there's nothing super close and I'm shooting at 14mm. Okay, I'm in an amazing place in the Faroes called Tornavik now, and it's getting a bit blue sky over there, but there's a great shot here with this sort of leading line of the estuary just sort of running into the sea here. I thought I'd take exactly the same shot on my Z5ii and my Z8, and then we can compare them. The key thing is print size. So I'm going to print it at different sizes, and I'm going to ask my family to see if they can tell the difference and see what size they can start to tell the difference between the two. I'll also have the images so you can download them and you can have a look at them as well. Right, I'm going to use a 24 to 120 lens as well. Let's go. So I hope you enjoyed the video so far. If you have, then please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I'm almost at 500,000 subscribers. When I get there, I'm going to be giving away a Z8. So I'm here. We've got an amazing chance of a sunset over there. It's looking really, really good. And we've got some waves, we've got some water in the waterfall. It's going to be the last time I use the Z5 in the Faroe Islands. And before I go, I'm going to talk about the images and of course print the comparison between this and my 45 megapixel Z8, so stick around for that. It doesn't get better than this. Okay, it's all kicking off now, isn't it, Rick?
Yes.
It's so epic now. Oh my word, I'll just show you this. Look at it. It is so cool. So at the moment I've got this sort of vertical at 14 mil, which I actually don't think is wide enough, and I'm just bracketing f9, and yeah, I think that looks pretty good really. ISO 250. Just I want quite a fast shutter speed for the water, and then I'll just have a quick look at that. That looks pretty good, I think. I feel like I'm tight there, so I might just need to move over a little bit. But that looks so good. Right, I've got to be quick because the sun's going down. I've not got a lot of time, so yeah. Oh, this is so good. Yes! What a trip I just had with this Z5ii. And I think the litmus test, whenever you go on a trip like that, where I haven't been there for 5 years, I was super excited about going, it's an epic place, we've got some epic conditions, is do you sort of, which camera would you thinking, oh, I really wish I had my Z8, or I wish I had my Z7 II or my Z6 III or whatever? I didn't think that. I wasn't, you know, I was shooting this amazing sunset on the last night, and I wasn't thinking, I really, really wish that I was shooting this from a Z8. You know, and okay, the image quality on the Z8, if you pixel peep, is going to be better. But, as I'll show you in a second, when we print the images out, that's slightly different. But I think that the ergonomics of it, you know, the viewfinder, which is a significant improvement over the Z5 and something like the Z7, is just so nice to use. It was a really nice camera to use. You know, the fact that you've got this flippy screen, if you want to vlog's good. And generally, I really liked it. There are a few things that I really liked. So the things that I liked over my Z8 were size, basically. I think being able to, you know, just fit it in a smaller bag. It's not as heavy.
is just fantastic. I really like this sort of form factor, and I wish that you could get all the features of a Z8 in a smaller form factor like this. But for a starting full frame sensor, then it's pretty amazing. You know, the reality is it's just a ZF in a different body, basically. And they're pretty much the same price. I think there's a £200 difference between the two. So you've got to sort of decide what you want. You want a retro styling or this. I really like the ZF, if I'm honest, but I feel like the feel of this, the grip is great. You know, I think it's fantastic. Certainly, if you're coming from something like maybe a Z7 and you're worried about going down in megapixels, and I'll show you that in a second, why I don't think you should be too worried about that, then you're going to gain so many things. Like the focusing is way better. It focuses in much lower light. The in-body stabilization is incredible. I think I'm right in saying that it's the best of any camera that Nikon make. It is incredible. You can almost handhold and do like half a second if there's no wind. There's huge improvements in the focus, like for bird photography, wildlife photography. I didn't go into that in this video, obviously, so I'm sure there's loads of people that have done that. It's not sort of my genre, so I didn't feel like I should do that, but certainly for doing video on it, where it was detecting my face, it was doing an incredibly good job of that. And actually, the ZF is the camera that I use the most for video now. And I know how good that is. It's just super reliable. The key thing is, though, is the megapixels, and I just want to. I basically got my family to look at these two images. So I'm going to show you the results of that in a second. Before I do that, I just want to talk about Squarespace, who are the sponsor of this week's video. Squarespace are a fantastic platform if you're looking to set up your own website, share your own images, and have control of the quality of those images. You know, when you get a camera like this, you buy an expensive camera, then you want to be in control of your quality, and you can do that with Squarespace. You can change all the layout of it, and it's really easy to create a blog as well. And I'm going to show some of the images. I'm going to put some raw images from the Z5 on a blog. There'll be a link in the description below. I made that blog with Squarespace. It was super easy to do. You don't need any technical skills. So if you're looking to set up your own website or create your own domain, then go to squarespace.com/Nigel. You get 10% off, or use offer code Nigel. So these prints, so I showed them my family, and you can see by their reaction, they weren't 100% sure, but they came up with what they thought was the best quality one based on factors that they looked at.
In summary, we sort of said that
we've now swapped them the other way around, by the way.
On this image, the grass in the bottom left is more sharp than here, especially this area here where it's quite blurred. On this one, there's better contrast in the colours and the shadows in the rocks here, whereas on this one it all sort of blends together and it's very, you almost can't see the rocks on that. But then on this one we're thinking that the definition in the rocks there is slightly better than on here.
So that's the one. So which one? That's the one that you think is better.
We think overall this one's a better better quality photo.
All right.
And yes, the one they chose was this one, which was the Z5ii. And I'm not just saying this. I think if I was doing it, I'd probably just choose the Z5ii as well. I've checked on screen. When you zoom in really close, you know, you can see a little bit more detail on the Z8, obviously. Now, the other thing that's really interesting on the Z5ii, I actually cropped it a little bit. It ended up being 22 megapixels because the horizon wasn't straight, so I had to rotate it a little bit. But if you're printing at A2 size, so sort of this size, megapixels just doesn't matter. I can't say it enough. The problem is that people look at it from a jump from 22 to 44 and it seems like double, but it isn't double. Yes, it's 50% more megapixels, but it's not 50% on one side and 50% on the other side. So the resultant image isn't that much bigger. So I wouldn't get carried away about that. I think if you're looking for a full frame camera, then the Z5ii is a really good idea. I also consider the ZF as well, because it's pretty much the same camera, and depending on what you like in terms of the styling, probably most people go for the Z5ii because the grip's a bit better, I think. And maybe you're upgrading from something like a Z6, Z6ii, Z7, Z7ii, Z5 definitely, then, you know, I think everything in the Z5ii is going to be better. So just before I go, one more thing I just want to mention is the noise. So this is an image that I took at ISO 800. I wanted to have a shutter speed that wasn't super slow. You can just see here, if I just increase the exposure in this shadow area, then there really isn't a lot of noise. I am super impressed with this. To be able to pull out, you know, that detail in the shadow area like that at ISO 800, I think it's really, really good. What I'm trying to say is the sensor's just amazing. 24 megapixels is easily enough, and it's a great entry to full frame photography. And I prefer full frame to APS-C because you get much bigger photo sites, basically. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. It was amazing to be back in the Faroe Islands, and I've got another video out really soon, actually, midweek, I think, on the Faroe Islands, so make sure you check that out.